It has been discovered that women have been playing percussion instruments dated from 5600 BC. Drawings found on the cavern walls of Çatalhöyük in ancient Turkey reveal this truth, as well as artwork depicting goddesses and their priestesses playing the frame drum, sistrums, and other percussion instruments. Over and over again, the frame drum is seen as a symbol of bringing life back into manifestation. From times as far back as 2500 BC, people were buried with little clay figures of women playing the frame drum. Sacred drumming was one of their main tools for ceremony and rites of passage, like births, weddings, and funeral rites. The rhythms of the drum allowed healers and shamans to slip into a trance state, which assisted them in prophesizing and performing sacred healing practices. One of the women in the forefront of this uprising is Layne Redmond, author, scholar, international teacher, and master drummer.
I started to study the ancient images of frame drummers, and they were almost all women. And as I did the research to find out who these women were holding the drums, it turned out that they were goddesses, many different goddesses. Inanna from Sumer, Ishtar, Astaroth, Astarte, Anat from Mesopotamia. From Egypt it was Hathor and Isis, and from Turkey it was Cybele. So, and also from Crete it was Rhea and Ariadne, and from Cyprus it was Aphrodite. And in Western Turkey it was Artemis, and in Greece Demeter or Persephone. So they've all really influenced me as I've studied their traditions and studied the attributes, the different instruments that they held, and what they represented to people. So they've all really influenced me. And the idea of having a sacred feminine, a divine feminine, was so different from what I grew up in the Episcopal Church. There was no sacred feminine. So I think it's very important to reclaim them just in terms of what our own psychic development can be. If we know that there is the divine archetype of a sacred feminine, it just can expand our own capacities.
Today, women from all walks of life are gathering together to celebrate once again with the drum rhythm as their common ground. They are restoring the drum to its rightful place as a sacred tool to recover their roots and reclaim the divine feminine within.
Drumming connects me to the earth and the sun and the wind and the water. It's like all the elements. I feel so much more connected and alive, and I'm expressing the earth and I'm expressing the sun. I am the wind and I am the water.
I feel connected to the earth, to animals, plant life, everything that has life in it. I feel connected, and it just makes me feel even more alive. So it's just that rhythm, it just carries me through life and in many aspects in my life. So that's what it does. It just really brings out me as a person, who I am, and the essence of who I am and what I have to contribute. So I believe that it's all interconnected. It's like a chain, and it's like a link in a chain. You know, you just become a part of it, and it just flows. It's just an energy. It's a really wonderful energy.
When I was growing up, not too many women were playing drums. I mean, when I was younger, I'm 38 now, and I mean, I can remember in like grade school, I wanted a set of drums. My mother gave me a clarinet, and it's just wasn't the same, you know?
What happened was, as far as we can tell historically, that the rise of the patriarchal religions, primarily Christianity and Islam, recognized the power of the drum in women's hands, and that became a tool for women's freedom. And in recognizing that these religions made a concerted effort to stomp it out to the extent of even murdering the priestesses of the drum so that women would no longer be able to drum. And it carried over later into colonial times when African slaves were not permitted to drum because it could possibly create a revolt. So it's carried along a long line of oppressed people, people of color and women both. Well, the tradition was broken. There haven't been drum priestesses probably since 300-400 AD at the very latest, although there are some traditions of shamans in Korea that are still women, but largely the tradition's been broken. What that means is reclaiming the power of the divine feminine and channeling that power through the drum in a ritual and religious context, and that's what I do. I've been trained by other women as a priestess, but not necessarily as a priestess of the drum. That has come through working with other women and choosing that path as a tool for empowerment and service to women. Yeah.
Well, I've realized that I've reached many, many people, mostly women. I've taught thousands of women to play now, and I continue to do that on a regular basis, and that's very healing for me and for these women, many of which wanted to play the drums when they were young and they were not given that opportunity. So it's really giving them something that they wanted and were told they couldn't have, and giving it to them now. And almost now it means more than it would have when they were young.
What inspires me now to drum is the sense of community that I feel with people, and the sense of oneness in the drum, and feeling the heartbeat of the earth. And the drum really grounds me. It really sends me to the center of the earth when I drum, and puts me in a trance in the sense of a good way, and raises my consciousness. Being a woman and being in drumming gives a sense of power, and I hope that more women can find a sense of empowerment through the drum, and also to really let themselves loose and experience just a fun time, whether it be dancing, whether it be playing the drum for themselves, whether just listening and being around the drum circle. It's really a special experience to be able to let yourself go, and drumming is a really great way to do that.